the thing about the media is it paints in primary colours, and some of these subjects are very, very nuanced and just difficult. And if I have an editor screaming at me, "Just keep it simple, Simon," again, I'll pull my hair out. I don't know what I'll do, because these subjects aren't simple. And this is a difficult message to get across. Just on the subject of the tax dodging bill, the label there, I actually agree with Jane. I think that isn't helpful to the process that we need to get change. But nevertheless, I think that at the same time there is a problem with equally there is a problem with people who do want to bring up issues around aggressive tax planning being seen as troublemakers or a problem to the business community, and I think that is a very serious issue. And you could see it in the election. I mean, people have talked about how high up the agenda the issue of tax avoidance is in the general population, but I mean, I actually wonder the extent to which if you ask people, do they believe companies when they're paying their fair share? Yes, they might get very irate about it. But if you equally ask them, do you think making Britain open for business is a priority for the government? They may actually think that is more of a priority, and I think that goes to that difficult balancing act goes to the nub of why it is so hard to get tough reforms on corporate tax. And the question that these speakers have been asked to address is, do we need an overhaul of the UK tax avoidance legislation? Now, I want to be clear who we mean by we. Who do we need an overhaul? Now, is we the UK? Is it in the UK's economic interest to have that overhaul? These are difficult questions for tax justice campaigners to answer. UK PLC may have a very different perspective, and then even I hold the view that I would like to see more invested, more political capital in international tax justice, and I actually think. The UK element of that question that's absolutely not the optimal forum to develop these concepts of fairness on. When at national level, you can see it in the way smaller nations, Ireland and Luxembourg, have developed their tax policies. It's very, very difficult for a country to unilaterally take on the complex multinationals tax planning and really without defeating their economic goals for growth. I'd like to just say something about the diverted profit tax. It was mentioned earlier. Which seems to be the great policy that's come out of from George Osborne in relation to tackling multinationals, and I want to ask the question: where has that come from? Because it seems to me to be an anomaly in the general theme of the message coming from Treasury about Britain being open for business and the tax rate plummeting down, and I think the answer is that DPT is something that was politically pragmatic to introduce. because of the tremendous noise around that was created around the issue of diverting Amazon sales through Luxembourg or Google's sales through Ireland, and that was done through the great work of Margaret Hodge and you know with us in the media following that up. But also there was at the G20, the OECD level, the work that the BEPS project was doing, that really there was a sense that some reform in that area was coming anyway. So I think that was a great initiative, and I actually think that what caused it was a lot of public attention at the grassroots level, and above the UK, a macro movement of change. And I'm really hoping that that the other OECD measures. I know Richard's been critical of some of the country by country reporting details, and I understand that point. But I think as in the round, taken in the round, the OECD has been ambitious, and I really hope that you know, between between many a slip between cup and lip, I hope that doesn't prove to be true as they face the final few months there. I mean, what Jane picked up on one measure they're introducing. They've got a policy for excessive debt, excessive interest deductions. That's one area that they're particularly hoping to tackle. And in the UK, you made the point that we've got 7 rules on that already, and the UK's tax code is already enormous. But you know, we do have 7 rules, but they're not working. If you look at multinationals, you know, there's the message is being conveyed that multinationals are self-policing now. They're getting the message that this, but I'm really not sure. If you examine the huge levels of internal debt in a lot of multinationals in the FTSE 100, it is quite commonplace to find astronomical levels of internal debt which have no reflection on their external borrowing, and that is to capture, oftentimes that is to capture profit shifting, and it despite the 7 rules that are supposed to neuter the tax benefits of these deductions. So I mean, I don't agree that tax dodging is the message is received, and that it's just a matter of dotting the I's and crossing the T's. There's still an awful lot to play for.